The pinnacle of Christian celebration on Easter Sunday. Is it really pagan? Should we get rid of it? Is Easter a pagan holiday? Yeah, that's right. The pinnacle of Christian celebration on Easter Sunday. Is it really pagan? Should we get rid of it? That's the question we're tackling today on our Midweek Moment. Now, if you've been following these at all, you realize we didn't have a Midweek Moment last week. We actually recorded one, but it didn't turn out as well as I wanted it to. So we're actually going to punt on that because we only want to bring you the best. And today we're going to be talking about Easter. Is it a pagan holiday? Should we get rid of it? And that's a really interesting question because the word Easter itself is derived from an old Anglo-Saxon word, eostre, which actually was the name of a pagan goddess. Yes, you heard me right. A pagan goddess who was symbolized by a bunny rabbit. The ancient pagans actually gave each other eggs to signify new birth. And this holiday was originally celebrated at the spring equinox, not during or because of the resurrection of Jesus. So what the heck is up with that? When I first heard about that, I kind of freaked out. And some people freak out so much that they're like, oh my gosh, we need to get rid of Easter. It is a pagan holiday. Get rid of it. People even do the same thing about Christmas because Christmas was celebrated around Saturnalia, a Roman holiday that was kind of a debauchery type of event that was going on in the ancient Roman world. And we don't even know the time that or the date that Jesus was born or that he rose from the dead. So these holidays seem to have very pagan roots. Christians say, well, maybe we should just reject them. Some even look at other holidays and they say we should have nothing to do with these holidays, especially things like Halloween. How demonic could you get? And maybe the same is true for Easter because, yes, there are things like peeps, which, yes, they're evil. But what do we do with it? What do we do with days like this? Do we celebrate them? Do we reject them? Do we just pretend like we don't know anything about these roots and just go along with flow? What do we do? Well, Paul actually addressed something very similar to this in Romans chapter 14. In verse 5, he says, one person considers one day more sacred than another. Another considers every day alike. What he's saying is that there are people that think that one day is sacred and some people that think another day is sacred and don't want to celebrate any holidays because that's what he was talking about, special holidays. But he says this is the answer. He says each of them should be fully convinced in their own mind. That's right, each person should decide for themselves. You should develop your own conviction about these things. And it's okay if Christians disagree about things like whether Halloween is pagan or whether Easter itself should be celebrated or not. So you need to decide for yourself. What's your conviction? And I'll tell you that we actually have three options when it comes to things like this. The first option is to receive it. Heck, everyone around us, all our friends and family are celebrating Easter. Let's just receive it and celebrate it too. That sounds pretty good. I like things like candy. I like things like a bunny hiding eggs and the kids going out. I like that the bunny in our house drops behind chocolate droppings all over the stairs for my daughter McKinley when she goes downstairs. She loves that part too. So we can receive some of those things. We should definitely receive Cadbury eggs because those are God's gift to mankind. So that's option one, receive it. Option two, reject it. Perhaps we need to look at this and say, no. Pagan roots, get rid of it. We don't want anything to do with anything that might be remotely evil. And perhaps those are some of the best things we can do, especially around Halloween. Seances, Ouija boards, man, that's evil. We should reject some of those things. So receive it, reject it, but there's actually a third option, and it's one that gets forgotten in debates about things like the pagan roots of Easter, and it's the option to redeem it. That's right, to redeem it, to take something that was bad. Let's admit it, it has pagan roots. It was based on some pagan goddess who did who knows what, and people sacrificed what knows kind of animal to that pagan goddess. We don't know. But we can redeem those things that once were bad and make them good. And you know what? That almost sounds like what Easter's all about. That Jesus Christ, who had died himself, rose from the dead to redeem mankind from their sins. Yes, you and me. So if Easter's all about redemption, I don't see any problem with looking at a day that did have pagan roots and redeeming it for something even better. In fact, that's what Paul says we should do in the very next verse in Romans chapter 14. Verse 6 says, "Whoever regards one day as special does so to the Lord." As long as you're doing this and saying, this is for Jesus, let's make it about Jesus, we can redeem days that we're pagan, that we're sinful, that we're evil, and we can stop getting our panties in a bunch and just have fun with those things because they're redeemed for Jesus. So maybe you receive it, maybe you reject it, or maybe you redeem it. But ultimately, it's your conviction. You've got to decide for yourself. So that's what we're going to do, and that's why even here at Arise Church, we celebrate and we have eggs. We even take part in the MCA, our neighborhood egg scramble. Yes, if you want to join us this Saturday at the egg scramble, we would love to see you there. We're going to have some of our teenagers dressed up, yes, as bunnies. We're going to be handing out some stuff. In fact, you can come and you can get one of these amazing metal mugs that we got with our new branding. We're so excited about these mugs. You can pick one of these up. We'll give it to you as we celebrate and redeem what Easter is about, because Easter is the holiday that's all about redemption, and we want to see you there. So what do you think? I'd love to hear from you. Maybe you could leave a comment and say, hey, I agree with you, or you think, hey, Matt, I think you're wrong, and here's why. I'd love to hear why, and maybe you'll have your own conviction on this. And make sure you subscribe as well. Next week, we're taking off for Easter. We got a lot going on with a Good Friday service online. We got 3 in-person services or online services on Easter Sunday. Make sure you go to arisedenver.com/Easter to take part in that as we talk about how Jesus did rise from the dead, and we can celebrate that. And then make sure you subscribe, because after that, we have some great content coming about your questions about what heaven is like. So I'll see you then. Make sure you subscribe.